Hello guys, it's been a long time since I uploaded on this YouTube channel and it feels good to be back. I'll be reviewing the book The Fire Rush by Jacqueline Crooks. This book in particular, Fire Rush by Jacqueline Crooks, was a book I read while I was on holiday, and oh my gosh, I fell in love with this book instantly. I didn't know how to describe it whatsoever, but this book took me on a journey in exploring the author's roots, but also my roots and my Jamaican roots as well. As it say in the blurb, explores a character named Yamin going out for the weekend at a club named Crooks with her friends, an underground club out in the outskirts of London. Then everything changes. Yamin meets Moose, who she falls deeply in love with, and he offers her the chance of freedom and escape, and this is a good time for her. After their relationship is brutally cut short, Yamin goes on a dramatic journey of transformation that leads her to Jamaica, where past and present collide with explosive consequences. When reviewing this book, I had a sense of Yamin's vulnerability. There was a lot of her vulnerability explored when she enters the club, because in this it explores themes like love, loss, resilience, rage at the author's rage at her past, childhood, and also historical context in exploring the riots that happened during 1979 up to 1980s. And a lot of these riots was due to racism that happened, and a lot of it focuses on other communities, but the author really wanted it to focus on the Black community and a lot of the underground clubs and the music that was influenced, sort of like dub reggae, and how it influenced hip-hop and how it influenced the fashion and the clothes that was worn at the time. When reading the novel, there's a good sense of atmospheric description. In exploring the author's novel, Jacqueline includes historical context and exploring the riots that happened in the UK. In particular, she focuses on music was escape and used as a form to stand up for racism happening in the UK at the time, which I found powerful. I like the subtle spookiness in the novel, in exploring the dark sides of the Crooks nightclub and how it has an impact on her vulnerabilities. A lot of her vulnerabilities, what I mean by this particular topic, and you'll notice it in the book, is a lot of her vulnerabilities at her age is explored, because you see things at the club which she's not used to seeing, and it's explored in her romantic relationship with Moose, and she feels vulnerable and she feels alone, and there's a sense of pain. There's a lot of pain in this novel, a pain at loss, a pain of how she feels inside of herself, and a lot of anger. And I guess this is why it's called Fire Rush in particular. In doing my research into the novel, when reading deeply into the novel, the reason why she used club as a form of escape, because she feels trapped from a broken family home, and she finds solace and community at the Crooks, a place where the club beneath a church, with doors she escapes into the night to dance her troubles away. She falls in love with a charming sculptor called Moose, but it isn't long before tragic injustice cuts the union short, leaving her unanchored. So basically, anti-fascist uprising are gripped in Southall in 1979 during the era of protests in multicultural community across the UK. Multicultural communities includes the white community, the Asian community, and the Black community as well. And also she finds out that she's drawn into a criminal gang under the manipulations of Moose Sasa, who's a magical realist flair evoked by Crooks as part man and part Duppy, a toxic projection of Yamin's fears and vulnerabilities. This is what I was talking about, as I mentioned in the beginning, how there's slight spookiness in the novel. It's because when she goes into this club, it's almost very cult-like, and it explores the word Duppy and how it's quite fearful, and something which people don't speak a lot about. But when reading this novel, I felt a sense of spookiness, because she's very young and she's going to this club, and this club is about having fun, but at the same time a lot of people are believing in these stuff which goes against what she believes in, and you get that sense a lot in the novel, which I like. I like the contrast and juxtaposition between the nightclub and the darkness. Like, as you read the novel, you hear the liveliness of the music, but as you go deeper into the novel, you get the sense of her vulnerabilities combined with love, loss, and resilience, which I really love about this book a lot. It wasn't just the Black community going through tension at the time. It was the Asian community, the Black community, and the Irish community. Everyone was there because everyone felt threatened. Tension had been brewing for a long time. There was poverty and police brutality. A young Asian man had been killed. It was almost tangible in the air. And when we heard that National Front was going to march through Southwold, the whole community came together, like I show in the book. Like, there was Asian musicians as well, playing next to Black musicians. There were white punk guys there. The whole community did come out together. But yes, I do think from the Black Caribbean perspective, which quoted by Jacqueline, there was speaking to, and with on the Day of Rights, explosive time. It was like a dub reggae song. It was built up and up and until someone had to give up at some point. The community were like, that's it, and it were all enough, and they were whispering about needing to be ready for the National Front. So music was used as a political sense of combining all communities together, which I really love about this novel. Even though they played a lot of instruments, and even though it didn't get a lot far, they still were communicating quite a powerful message to the people and to the political people at the time. But in writing this novel, this took her over. She started writing. Good fact, she started writing this novel in 2005, and she only started rewriting this novel during the pandemic of 2020. In particular, when she was writing the novel, she was a bit unsure because it was full of patois. But eventually, she decided to change it into English, and then she decided to change it back into patois and English and combine both. Broken English and English together, which I really love in the novel, which makes it stand out the most, because you get a sense of her heritage and you get a sense of the character's heritage as well, and the atmosphere and the culture behind the novel. But also in the novel, you get a sense of everything intertwining together. There's a sense of intertwining of cultures. The differences between now and then, there were Black clubs, white clubs, Asian clubs, but now there's mixed clubs full of different nationalities and different heritage, and so things has changed a lot for young people now, and I feel like this book can resonate with a lot of young people, because as they read it, they can start to understand that, oh, this how it was back then, but I can still resonate with now, because I feel like you get a sense of pain, and a lot of it is to do with what happened during the pandemic, especially with racism and what happened as you know yourself. And I feel like as reading a novel, you can connect to it on many levels. In some ways, you can get a sense of enrage and that inner fire that you're seeing throughout the characters, but also in the fire that you feel now at what is happening to the main character in the story, which I really love about the book. The one thing that I really love about the book, is the historical things she includes in it, which is very true and very factual, because not a lot of authors will make this fictional and they will not include a lot of historical context, and a lot of some readers will get bored thinking this is factual. But this book, the good thing about this book, what makes it enjoyable to read, is the music and the language, but almost the political stuff that happens behind it, and the characters dialogues and the characters' descriptions, which is explored through the characters, which is really good. In particular, the main and as you met, the main theme that most people should know when reading this book, of course, Fire Rush and the nightclub, and the sense of community. Sense of community is the main theme in this novel. Community is very important, a sense of belonging and every community combining together. It's giving a message to the voiceless, individuals who didn't speak up at the time, and individuals now who still don't have the power to speak up now. And I feel like this novel is very important because even though in the pandemic racism was happening, it maybe still happened to some people now, and they still may not have the courage to speak up. So I feel like this novel is very good, a sense of community and combining all communities together and understanding that it's not about one community. Everyone have their differences, but together when you unite, it's something quite powerful and something quite political. Definitely quoted by the author from the website, which website? All City Interviews, by All City Interviews. She includes a particular quotation which I find powerful, and I spoke about early on, is the question is in the fire rush after the first act in Southall, Yarman runs away to Bristol and then travels to Jamaica. Why did you choose to move between these three settings? So quoted by Jacqueline Crooks, she says, I wanted to show coming from darkness into light and rising up. And as I said early on in the video, there's a sense of the character, there's a sense of light and dark, or dark or light, and light and dark. But towards the end of the story, there's a sense of light rising up beneath the light and dark that's happening around being both in the UK and Jamaica at the same time. Also, in exploring the novel, there's a sense of black womanhood explored through Yamin and other characters, and offset by masculine duality of men she gets into relationship with Moose, who's sensitive, subtle, and Mosiah, who's toxic and dangerous. I'm exploring, she said, quoted by Jacqueline Crooks, I'm exploring John's ideas of the shadow. It's a way they are one and the same character. Mosiah is the A side of the dark side of Moose, and Moose is the A side or the light side of Mosiah. I really like this part that she includes in the interview, in particular about how Moose represents Mosiah's dark side and the juxtaposition and duality between both characters. It's a sense of shadow of self, one person but another person behind the other. So when you think about it, Mosiah is the A side of dark side Moose character. Moose is the A side of the light side of Mosiah, like the Dapper Reggae Vinyl. We have the light and dark. I'm trying to show you in these characters, we all have a light and dark side about each other in life. So I really like the duality between the characters' personalities and how Mosiah, the Messiah, is representations of Moose's dark side, and how the other side of Messiah's characters representation of Moose's light side of character. And it's important because when looking at life, people do have a light and dark side to each other, and you begin to see that throughout the novel. Like, there's juxtapositions everywhere around you, and there's contrast and there's dualities in people's personalities. Like, as humans, we're all flawed and we're not all perfect. So you definitely see that throughout the novel, that each character is like contrasted by another character, which is very well written by the author. And also, in looking at the interview, you begin to start to understand that this book is a form of art. This art is, that's why the author named it Fire Rush, because it's a sense of her rage, her childhood. As a child, she lived in the UK, but she always wanted to travel to Jamaica. And it's only in her early 20s she travelled to Jamaica. And at last she found peace, and that's when she found clarity. So this novel was almost a catharsis of all her vulnerabilities, her fears, her loss combined together, which was greatly written. and greatly composed and greatly shown in the novel, and something very powerful about the novel in speaking up for people who are voiceless. And I like how when you're reading it, you get a sense of passion in the characters, and you get a sense of understanding of her childhood and what she endured at the time. And yes, I think definitely I will recommend this book to anyone out there who's interested in community, in exploring other heritages and dualities. I think in particular people who are very interested in exploring Jung's idea of a side of characters. In particular, this is really good because it's quoted by the author in the All City interviews, which can be found online. This is very good in exploring that, and I really found that very fascinating idea, and author done incredibly well. So I hope whoever out there who's listening to this video will get the book, and you can give me feedback, and you can subscribe to my channel, of course, and you can give me feedback on the book and your own ideas and your own views of the novel yourself, which I love to hear. Bye, and thank you for listening to my video. Bye.